Hey guys, and welcome to a special video. This is something new. We've never done a podcast before, or something like this. But I wanted to sit down with my dad, who spent his career serving in the New Zealand Defence Force, and record the stories, lessons, and experiences that shaped his life. Whether you're served yourself or just curious what life in the NZDF is really like, we're glad you're here. Let's get into it. So, what was your life growing up, and where did you spend most of your childhood?
Different. So I've obviously been brought up in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, mixture of environments that I was brought up with, predominantly though out in the country with my grandparents. Generally in our Māori culture, the eldest is sent away to be brought up with the grandparents. Generally this is so customs, language, culture can be passed on and learnt and obviously remain. So I did spend a bit of time with my grandparents. However, later on, obviously with schooling being better in the cities, was pulled back to stay with my parents because my mum wanted me to back into the city when I was in secondary school.
What was your schooling like? Were you good at school, or were you a bit of a run-of-the-mill, just bad at school, always caused trouble?
Nah, I wasn't a troublemaker. I was a trouble solver, if anything. I never got into fights, but then again, I never walked away from one in regards to somebody else needing help. Hated bullies. But yeah, my grades wise, I would like to say I was above average. Yeah, did what I needed to do to join the military.
What was your where did the interest for military come along? I guess was it quite at a young age, and what was your influence, I guess, on it?
I guess my grandfather being in the 28th Māori Battalion, World War II. All I can remember from whatever age I was, I think I wanted to join the military, most of the army. Yeah, as far back as I can remember.
Grandfather being in the Māori Battalion, did you hear a lot of stories from that?
No, actually, Pa, as he was known, never really spoke about it. Yeah, if anything, I just heard it from Dad.
Do you know whereabouts he served?
In North Africa, mostly.
So when you decided to join the military, I guess back then you would have to go down to the recruitment office. Couldn't really call them back then. How did your family react to that? Were they happy or against it?
There wasn't actually a recruiting office that came later. Basically, what used to happen is there was a military scheme being run for the army, which was called Regular Force Cadet School. So this was a school run by the army, and its main mission was provide super warrant officers, future senior series warrant officers for the New Zealand Army. Basically, they took between 16 and a half and 17 and a half year olds straight from high school into the military. Basically, they trained them for approximately a year before releasing them into the regular force, as in adult army. So the recruiters used to come around to the schools and do the entry testing there. And from there, you found out whether you had succeeded or not. And your next part of the recruiting phase was to go in for interviews. And I was lucky, one of the few to get through that process. It was highly contested from high schools to get into the army this young.
It was quite different back then in terms of everyone actually wanting to do military or serve for their country one way or another. Unlike now where you get most people that are against it. It's different compared to back then. Because that would have been peacetime military, wouldn't it have been?
Yeah, exactly. So the last place NZDF had gone was Malay conflict, which was a while back. At the time, though, we did have a battalion group that was in Singapore, based in Singapore. Yeah, it was quite big then also. A lot of people. It was fell up. It was pretty good. And it was resourced well also.
Did you find any free schooling or just I guess general sports that helped you with your initial intake into the military?
No, I dabbled in rugby, basketball, but no, I don't think so. Obviously, yeah, just being active helped.
So when you talk about having that mindset of joining the military at a young age, was there just one certain thing you could really think of that, you happened or you heard about and it's like, yeah, no, that's what I want to do, rather than go down like a trades path?
What my wish was to be infantry, to be a rifleman. That's what Pa was. Didn't know anything about other trades or anything until I went and saw the recruiter.
Oh, yeah. So you initially wanted to be as infantry, and I think, did you go for infantry when you first signed up, or?
Yep.
So you were in infantry for a little bit?
I was infantry for a long time. I wasn't a rifleman though.
Oh, okay. When you got into regular forces, did you still have to go through your initial intake of basic and all that?
Yeah, so the RF Cadet School was still, you still had to go through a basic. Yeah, you still did the basic, but however, instead of, I don't even know, 14 weeks, I think is the normal one, 14 weeks in a normal adult entry, they were doing 14 weeks and then they would be pushed out to RF units. We did a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a year basic, but 14 weeks basic. And then we had activities and training that covered for a year until we were old enough to join at 18.
Okay. What was your experience through basic like? I guess obviously it sucks, but at some points.
Yeah, it's not the best time. It has little bits that you remember, but pretty much it's just the people that you remember. Obviously, you remember the skills as you go through your military career, but yeah, it was mostly bad experience. As you said, it's not a good time. I think having a look at the generation at the time that came through, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have a lot of, TVs and stuff, the mod cons they have nowadays. So going without wasn't a problem.
And I guess, yeah, like I said, they're a bit not as soft as they are now. When it came with basic, I guess is a bit more rough.
I don't know. Basic nowadays is totally different to what it was in my day.
How'd you get on with your shooting and all that as well? Were you quite comfortable with that, or?
Yeah, it was fine. It's good.
What would have been standard issue back then? Was it still the Styres?
Yep.
And you enjoyed like your when you go out on the field and everything? Were you field training?
No, hated it.
Hated it?
Yeah, it sucked. Just, yeah. They were like a crazy person to say that they enjoy digging holes, sleeping in holes, and when it's pissing down with the rain and it's cold. We had shit gear back then. Yeah, there was no way to keep warm. Yeah, it sucked. Summer doing exercise in summer was fine. Winter was just, not cool.
Yeah, because you would have done basic in Waidu, right?
Yep.
And so, for those who don't know, Waidu is quite an extreme climate in New Zealand. It's either, it doesn't get too hot there, I suppose. It can, though, but it's more so, what would you call it? What's the landscape like?
It's a desert.
Yeah, okay.
But not your typical sand desert. It's shrubs. What do you call them?
Volcanic rocks.
Tussock. A lot of tussock interspersed with forests.
And it gets quite cold there. It snows quite a bit. And over winter, freezing. So yeah, I could only imagine how bad that would have been going in the field when it snows. I guess
snowing is better than raining.
Yeah, when it gets all slushy. And then during your training, did you do a lot of training with the other branches as well? Like, I guess, mechanized or with the Air Force at the time?
No.
Oh, nothing like that?
No, every now and then, but that was just usually because we were attached to a bigger exercise. But we didn't operate with Air Force or other units, actually. During our training, it was just us.
Oh, okay. I guess that would come later, right? When you go over your big exercises overseas or even locally.
Yep.
Was there any time during your basic that you kind of second-guessed yourself on enlisting?
Oh, yeah, from day one.
What made you, I guess, keep pushing on? What was your main motivation factor in that?
I don't know. I guess I just never thought about quitting.
I'm guessing it's more so
So
that thing of
quitting was just not a thing, you know. I didn't want to quit. I wanted to be in the military. It's a good question because I never thought about it. But there was no ever a time that I wanted to quit. Even during the worst periods, never thought about quitting.
because someone who hasn't been in the military, I guess it's also a fact that, you know, you look around at your teammates and, I mean, you're all are going through the same thing. Like, you're not special, you're not experiencing it any different from anyone else as well. Guess that might be enough motivation to push through.
A lot of it is just mind over matter, I think. Being physical and strong is one thing, physically, but I think a lot has got to be with what's in your head, being able to handle what's going on in your mind.
I've heard that a lot, even through you get the special forces guy talk about. Sure, you can be some big top of the line fit guy, but you know, it's more so how you deal with things mentally rather than physically. Because obviously people think of SF guys are like these massive guys or whatever, but most of the time they're not. Most of the time they just look like anyone else. They just got a strong mind.
Yep.
Do you have any standout memories from your base? Anything that's still funny moments or anything, stories that still cross your mind?
No, just the comradeship. The times that, you know, when your guys are feeling at their lowest because of the weather, because of the PT or the punishment that's going on in regards to physical activities. It's just the guys pulling together and then getting themselves through it. Yeah, comradeship.
And so, what was the date you marched out?
That was December 1990.
1990.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Did your family come along for that?
Yeah,
Were they all there?
Dad came down.
How did it feel marching out after all that?
Pretty proud. Yeah, done it, made it. It was good.
What was your biggest adjustment when you're transitioning into actually being enlisted after training?
Yeah, so after the year,
Yeah,
I've been in RF cadets. I think that was probably more scarier than joining for basic training, was tuning up to a RF regular force line unit, which was 1 battalion, which was where I was posted to, and just being, I guess, accepted. So it felt like you were joining another basic, almost strange people in your unit, and getting to know them and their culture and everything again, which was totally different to our RF cadet year.
I guess so. You're in, and I guess how does it go on after that? What if you just keep training?
Yeah, I started doing all my trade courses and infantry courses, promotion courses. So I just got in the thick of it. Exercises within New Zealand, exercises overseas, other countries. Yeah.
What exercises did you take part in overseas?
I think we had exercises with Australians, with the Malaysians,
Would have been Talisman Sabre?
Singaporeans. No.
Oh no.
Not back then.
Oh, they didn't have that?
No, not yet. I think ours was a Swift Eagle. Yeah, it was sort of smaller scale exercises with the Aussies.
Oh yeah. Did you ever do training with, say, America?
No,
exercise?
No, that was until later on.
Because what was your, I guess, first impression when you seen like the firepower if you go train with Australia compared to New Zealand? How they got a bit bigger military than we do in terms of all the cool toys they have. How'd you find that? Seeing all the tanks and everything for the first time?
Yeah, it was cool. They got these big tanks and stuff. But I mean, bottom line though, I think the biggest difference between us and the Aussies is just how we operate. We don't have the big flash toys and stuff like that, so we have to lean on doing our light infantry skills well to concentrate on the things that we could do. So I think one of the big differences is that we probably have, it's hard to put a finger on it, but yeah, just totally different cultures. They are well looked after, the Aussies, and don't get me wrong, they're first class military with their soldiers, but they have a lot of soldiers obviously because they're a big country, have a bigger population to pull from. We don't. So we tend to know our people quite well because we have to. Well, and the fact that we're so small. So I guess we can work through our people's strengths and weaknesses a little bit better. Well, that's my opinion.
Because I think New Zealand, I don't know if it still is, but it was regarded as having one of the best militaries in terms of size, in terms of training and discipline. I think it's the same for the Air Force at the time as well, being known by everyone as being a really good military, especially for the size. I believe even in World War II, well, obviously, with the multi-battalion.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can't quantify that. It's a lot of, how do you quantify that apart from World War II and the wars that we've been in? We're well known nowadays for being able to mix with any culture quite well. That might be just a national thing that we are because we are accepting of a lot of cultures within our own society.
Yeah. And okay, I guess this ties into the next thing. What's your first ever deployment? Would it have been East Timor or would it have been a disaster relief deployment?
No, it was Timor.
Okay. So a lot of people obviously just don't know about what happened in East Timor. In short, correct me if I'm wrong, it was pretty much just a big was it a civil unrest that kind of turned into more political? Well, it was political and then civil unrest?
No, so East Timor wanted to break away from Indonesia and become its own country. And Indonesia obviously didn't want that to happen. So, yeah, as you can imagine, there was a lot of pro-Indonesian and non-pro that were causing a lot of havoc. And militia were going through and cleaning out villages and whatnot in East Timor. Then Australia decided to step in and help the
it was all
independence
over
of
the news.
East Timor.
Yeah, because it was quite big news, wasn't it, when it broke about it? And I think a lot of people during that time here in New Zealand, I can speak for, I guess, I've seen the articles and stuff about being all for it, for trying to push the government to go send help and, help these people out who are a little bit less fortunate, which is kind of cool to see, where a country comes together and tries to do what's right, stop the little guy getting bullied.
Yeah, it's more so, I think, also that the Australians asked us also, being our Anzac brothers and sisters, we jumped in with them.
Guess you would have got pulled into, did you get called or did you get pulled into a meeting saying that, hey, because this would have been, I guess I should explain the events leading up to it, right? So this would have been Interfet, where they sent first they sent over police from Australia, I believe, to try and smooth things out a bit. But then that kind of exploded and the police got overwhelmed. Do you want to chime in on here a little bit? Not that you'd be more accurate on it. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I know what happened, but I just don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, so Interfet, so the International Force East Timor, which is what Interfet stands for. So it wasn't just, basically it was a multinational non-UN peacemaking task force, which was organised by the Australians. And basically they went in before a UN resolution was mandated or passed. So there was quite a few countries that participated in Interfet. There was, I think at the peak of the deployment, there were about 11,500 personnel over there.
This is before the military got deployed?
No, this is when we went in.
Oh, okay. So before we get to that, what were the events leading up to military intervention?
Oh, so it was just rioting by Indonesian-backed, militia that were trying to have East Timor stay with Indonesia. And, a lot of killing in the streets and machetes and all that tribal sort of stuff that goes on. Yeah, raping, pillaging, sort of, third world country stuff.
So how did you get the call when you were like told that you were going?
I
That
think
day?
my boss came and knocked on my door at home and told me.
And you guys were meant to do, how long was your pre-deployment training in New Zealand meant to be?
I think it was about, 6 months.
Mm. It was meant to be, right? And then it got pulled forward.
Yeah.
I think how you're only like a month in it, weren't you? Or maybe even
It might have been a
before that.
couple of months. Yeah.
And then that's when it escalated. Would that have been when these SAS went in to have to go pull the police out and all the interfit agents because of that big riot at the police station, I believe it was?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but
Because I remember reading about it vaguely. I know that special forces got sent in to go evacuate all the interfit because they got overwhelmed. Obviously, you got the big C-130s that went over and picked them up, took them back to Darwin, was it?
might have been.
And yeah, and then there was that big massacre that happened in Delhi on the pier.
Yeah.
That kind of kicked everything off. So for those who don't know, the militia, pretty much anyone that was was it anti or pro? Anti, right?
What's that?
The ones that got murdered, were they pro or anti by the
I don't
militia?
know. You don't really know because I just saw civilians, right?
Yeah, because they
Honestly, you don't know.
pretty much they went into the main capital of East Timor and marched a lot of civilians out to a pier and just slaughtered them. And that was kind of the reason why your pre-deployment got pulled up. Things had really escalated. So you flew out of Oaxaca.
Yep.
What was your train of thought before, like during pre-deployment or when you got the call? How was it scary?
No, I don't
Like
think it
you
was
weren't.
scary. There usually comes a time during your pre-deployment training that you just want to, towards the end of your pre-deployment training, that you just want it to hurry up and get over there and do your job. That's all you want to do.
This is the way I explain it to everyone, right? So it's like, say you imagine it's like this mindset. You train to be a builder your whole life, but you never get work like build a house type thing, you know? So I guess it's the same thing in the military, right? You train your whole life to do this one job. And then when you get that job, you're a bit locked into it and you just want to do it.
Yep.
I know we don't want war, we don't want any of that, but I mean, it's a different mindset, that's for sure. I vaguely remember you leaving in Oaxaca because did you fly to Darwin from there?
Yep. That's Darwin, Oaxaca to Darwin, where we pretty much bombed up and then jumped on a ship for a short trip across the ocean to land at East Timor.
How did it feel actually? You getting to Darwin and seeing how big of an operation it really was and the sheer size of what was going on?
Well, we didn't see much in Darwin because by the time we got in, it was dark. So we
Okay.
pretty much just got off the plane onto buses out to the harbour, went to sleep, woke up. No, we didn't even go to sleep actually. We got off the plane, bus to the harbour, bombed up in a warehouse with our ammo and everything, and then jumped on the ship to Brook, Aussie ship. And then next thing we're waking up in the ship after a sleep. Yeah, so yeah.
Just that same question again when you're going over, the weight would have been kind of suck, the suck when you're on the boat. The weight would have been quite nerve wracking. And then,
It was surreal because we're on a transport ship to Brook, as I said, but we were escorted by two frigates, which were what were they at the time? The frigate from New Zealand, so the Canterbury, I think, not the current Canterbury and Te Kaha,
okay.
which were Te Kaha, which was a Edzak class frigate, and Canterbury, which was one of our older ships, which was about to go out, was a Lender class frigate. So they were escorting us because of the submarine threat.
Yeah. And so when you were deployed over to East Timor, what was your role? Just infantry or?
No, so I was attached to what were they called? CSST, which was the Combat Services Support Team.
Okay.
Team sounds small, but it was probably Company Plus, which was basically a logistics group for the battalion headquarters, or for the battalion group. So I was with the headquarters there.
Oh yeah. So you would have been 1st Battalion?
No, at that stage, I belonged to another unit down in Burnham.
Okay. But you were you attached to 1st Battalion?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would have been 1st NZ besides SF to go boots on the ground pretty much.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of there was a lot of nations. Yeah, they're already Aussies was already there. Obviously, by the time we got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Along with some other countries that came in around the same time as we did.
So where did you land into? What was your main operating area?
So our headquarters was located in Suwai. Yeah, and then we had a lot of outposts out further.
I guess the next day when it was actually daylight, I guess it was, you would have seen all the, they would have had a lot of jets and everything around then, I think, wouldn't it? Aussies would have had the F-18s, the F-111s. You guys would have had the Skyhawks and the Hueys, I believe.
Hueys, yeah, still had those beasts.
Yeah, they're cool. I miss those. Yeah, how was that? Seeing all the jets and everything and flying around, doing their things.
I think they were mostly in Dili, so they're on the other side of Indonesia. Of East Timor. They weren't anywhere near us because there was there was one landing airfield where we were, but it was only for freight aircraft like the C-130s or those sort of ones.
So what was your experience? How did you find it, I guess, and what did you get up to over there?
Yeah, it was freaking hot. Very hot. And pretty, when we first got there, there was just us. We didn't see any people. It took them a while to come back. Well, I guess after we started stabilizing the area and doing our patrols, but it was pretty bleak. Even the villages that were around us were pretty empty and ransackled, pillaged. Yeah, it's pretty sparse.
Just to paint a picture for the listeners, what was the state of the area when you landed in terms of the buildings and how ransacked they were?
Yeah, pretty trashed. I mean, most it's funny, right? Because as the militia withdrew back over the border into Indonesia, they pretty much stripped everything from the villages and whatnot. So even down to the fact that the headquarters where we were at, which was a hospital run by nuns, basically was trashed. Everything in it was trashed, even to the point that even the tin that was on the roofs was taken. So it had no roofing or anything.
So were you mainly just based in the headquarters, or did you partake in patrols as well?
Yeah, I did do patrols out to the outer. Yeah, so I went out to a lot of our FOBs, our forward operating bases that were out and about.
Did you ever get into any contact?
No.
You never did?
Well, yes and no.
Were you there when the first NZDF person got killed?
Yes, I was, but it wasn't the one that you're thinking of. So ours was the first trip, and we lost 2 people, I think. I'm trying to remember. The one was when a MOG went off the side of a road, pretty much cliff. Yeah. So those, but I wasn't there from the Leonard Manning was killed.
There was Billy White?
Yeah.
And then you were there, you said 2 of them. Was the other one Tony Walser?
Yeah.
How did that change the tone of the deployment for you after, you never really had any real contacts and it was 2 you guys being away from the action? Like you didn't really, you guys were more safe. So I guess you didn't really think of the potential that could happen, right? It's kind of calmed down a bit.
Yeah,
And how did
but
that?
I mean, you could say that. Right? You could say that everything happens out on the edge, right, on the front line. But the problem was that these were the people that were fighting or that were engaging us were natives or indigenous people of this area. So they knew the area, they knew the routes, they knew where they were going. You know, we didn't have drones, we didn't have anything like that, and it was a lot of jungle.
Yeah, it's
So
quite dense rainforest type.
areas and stuff like that were
Yeah,
interspersed with clear areas, which was used for farming. But so nowhere was safe. We you know, we talk about you talk about safe, but what's safe? Yeah, there was no way to be safe apart from making sure that you are not safe. As soon as
yeah.
you say you're safe, then that's when you're not.
The environment would have been close to what Vietnam is like in terms of temperature, humidity, just rainforest, dense rainforests,
Yep,
with some
pretty much.
clearings. Yeah. Did you ever get to ride around in the Hueys?
All the time.
Did you
Yeah,
enjoy that? That would have been cool.
yeah, it was good for a break. But I mean, after about the first few times, it's just another current sport
Mm.
option.
Did you ever see any of the jets in action?
No, no, they were nowhere near us.
Oh, that's fair. So, how long was your deployment to East Timor?
I think all up it was about 8 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And you only had one rotation to East Timor?
yeah, that was
Mm.
enough. The hard one, the first one.
Yeah, just getting everything set up and get everything back under control.
Yeah, and you remember we went from a interfit, which was a non-UN mission, to a UN mission halfway through our tour. So I went to UNTAMET, United Nations Assistance Mission in East Timor,
Mm.
which changed a lot of stuff because of the bureaucracy that comes with the UN. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it wasn't just not as loose as everyone knows what the UN is. Yeah, and then how was it being over there, like, knowing that me and sister and mum were back home? Couldn't really went without contact for a long time whilst you were setting that all up.
yeah, it was hard, very hard.
Yeah, I think even for us it was quite hard. Well, for me anyway. It's more so sitting at home, and I know mum tried her best to try and not let us see it, but all the stuff you see on the news around that time, and that's
Yeah.
kind of all we had to go off because couldn't actually contact you at the time.
No, we had no phones.
Yeah, so and the news shows the worst of it most of the time, so you can only wonder.
Yeah.
And no, how did you feel coming back after that deployment? Did you feel you'd done well? You were proud of what the military had done over there?
Yeah. I mean, you can always remember the day that you went in to the day you come out and the difference. You always reflect on that. Yeah, I think we were all proud of what we had done.
Mm. Was there any key moments during that deployment that you still regularly think about?
Yeah, a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that'll always
just
stay with me. But I mean, the main one is just how poor the people were. Right, they had nothing, absolutely nothing. They made their houses from like materials that were around the house, like mud and stuff like that. And they didn't have power. They didn't have, they didn't go down to the supermarket to get food. They had none of that. They had absolutely nothing, and yet they were still able to smile and carry on with their lives. Quite amazing.
they wouldn't know anything different, so just their way of living.
Yeah.
How was your adjustment back to normal life in country after being deployed?
It was, I thought it would be easy, but I guess it was pretty hard in some aspects that I thought, but I didn't think were happening. I mean,
Just
you become hypersensitive. I don't know if you heard of that.
yeah, because you're used to being on alert like 24/7 every day, and you just kind of really
Still I do
reactive to
when you come
everything.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very hard. I mean, it's just yeah, it was hard to get back into a normalcy of being back in New Zealand and normal routine back in New Zealand, which is different to a routine over in on operations for so long too, non-stop.
Did you rely on your friends a lot during that time, and people you deployed with, of the stuff that you'd seen and been through? Because you can't really talk to mum about it or any normal civilian about it, because it's kind of like you said before, they just wouldn't understand.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually, because most of the contingent that went over came from the North Island, and I was based in the South Island at the time. And there was very few that went from the South Island. I don't even think I remember any of them. So no, I didn't. I didn't really. Apart from some people that I met up with later on, in regards to coursing and stuff like that.
Did you struggle through PTSD for a bit when you came back?
I don't know. I don't think it was a thing back then. Um, Still, if it was in its infancy. So I probably did, but I don't, I don't, I don't know.
It was quite frowned upon as well back in those times, anyway, wasn't it? If you developed something like that, it was more so pushed aside by the military to like it's fine.
I don't know. No, I don't think it was. I just don't think it was recognised.
I recognize. Okay.
Yeah, it was just not a thing. So we didn't have a name for it. We didn't have a label for it. So it was just not a thing.
Do you think the impact of the deployment, does it still follow you today?
Uh, no, I don't think so. I think alcohol helped me a lot to get over it. No,
I can't really complain about that. It works. Don't
yeah,
condone it, but it works.
yeah. I don't think so. Not now.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe it does. I don't. I don't. I can't. I don't know.
So you would have got out or came back from deployment, what has this been? Just before 2000? Or did you
Yeah,
get deployed in 2000? Was it 99 you went over?
yeah. 99. Did I go over 99? Yeah, 99.
99? Oh, yeah. So you would have been, what, end of 2000 you would have came back? I mean,
Yeah,
start just before 2000, I guess.
just before 2000.
Mm.
No, in 2000.
Oh, in 2000. With this stuff, when you come back, you would have heard of Iraq kicking off as well. Did you think that was going to be a problem?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
You thought it was going to be a problem? Did you think you'd have to go get deployed again for that, or
No, I was ready for it. I mean, everybody was.
did you get asked to go to that one?
No, by that time I was in the army training group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was an instructor. So instructors didn't deploy
Oh,
because they
okay.
were needed to train.
And also around that time, pretty close to that time, is when Afghan started as well,
Yep.
because Iraq was quite a small. Well, in terms of how long it lasted, it was quite short.
I think it was just one trip.
Yeah, it was quite short. I think it got finished pretty quick, and then Iraq started. I'm guessing a lot of people thought it was going to be. I mean, Afghan started. A lot of people thought it was going to be the same as the Iraq thing, where it just lasts maybe like 1 year, 2 years, maybe.
Hmm.
But as we know, that did not. And you missed deployment on that one too?
Yep. I was stuck in Wairau for quite a while.
Do you read, wish you went over on either of those deployments?
Every soldier does.
I guess that ties into that whole thing of training to do one job your whole life and then never, missing out on it. So after that, though, so New Zealand did a lot of humanitarian aid after that initial thing. I guess that's when we got situated more as humanitarian aid to Indo-Pacific.
Yeah, we call it HADR.
What does that stand for?
Humanitarian Aid and Disaster Relief.
Oh, yeah. And how did those deployment goes? Did you enjoy that type of work?
Yeah, who doesn't, right? So at that time, I think I was posted to a unit that were the first to deploy into these areas to establish what was needed, what was required, and do the initial senior engagements with the government and non-government organisations that were being established. So we're the first ones into those sort of environments.
And so you were always on call for it, pretty much?
Yep. For a short notice.
So it was pretty much just you get the phone call and then you rush to base type thing, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but we knew these things were coming, right? Because a cyclone doesn't just magically appear on top of a country.
Yeah. And yeah, what was that type of work like?
Challenging, rewarding, because it was good. It was good. Long, hard, just as hard as a deployment, an operational deployment, but a lot more trickier because you're dealing with a lot of people, so a lot of soft skills are required in regards to diplomacy, getting things done. Yeah, it's different, but just as challenging.
Would you say this is where a lot of in real life skills come into play, like how you treat other people, how you talk to them, and just your own intuition on a lot of these humanitarian things?
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than, just a strict, disciplined military life.
Yeah. Can't tell civilians what to do. Can't tell a country what to do. It's all about listening to what they have to say and then advising, giving the best advice you can with the resources you have.
Yeah, because obviously a lot of these people are in shock and they don't know what to do, and they just they're all out there for just trying to survive. And they see, New Zealand pull up with all the supplies and everything, and it can get a bit more chaotic because, everyone just trying to provide for their family and trying to survive. It can get a bit chaotic that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of tensions arise, a lot of tempers, which is understandable. Is there any specific moment from any of these deployments that you remember? Maybe you saved someone or helped a family out?
Well, we're doing that all the time, right? Helping out families, mostly as a headquarters element in operations. You're dealing with not just with your defence force, which is Air Force and Navy and Army, but you're also dealing with other nations, Australians, predominantly in the Pacific, but also a lot of aid agencies that want your help moving stuff, controlling stuff, supporting stuff. So I think that was all cool. So it certainly opened your eyes in regards to there are bigger things in the world than just the army.
Yeah. So it's not just a big war machine.
No, we take.
Well, New Zealand isn't anyway. And Because how many of those do you reckon you've been on?
I think the first one was March 2015, which was Cyclone Pam. So that one hit Vanuatu, I think, and that's the one we went to.
Yes, I remember that when you got deployed
Yeah,
to that.
so we're a very small headquarters, so that was probably our harder one because we just didn't have the people at the time. Next
Yeah.
one was the following year, around the same period, which was Cyclone Winston, which was the one that hit Fiji. That was a big one that we sent quite a few of our people across. It was quite long too. I think we were there for quite a while. And then the next one was not a cyclone, but an earthquake. That was earthquake that hit Kaikoura pretty
Oh
badly,
yeah. Yeah.
which we went down to and sorted that one out too.
Yeah, because that was pretty big because I was right on the coast and it cut them off.
Yeah, pretty much from road and rail and everything else.
Yeah.
They didn't really have, well, they had a small airport, but couldn't land anything. And that was in November 2016. Yeah.
Did you get deployed to the Christchurch earthquakes?
No, not that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and was there anywhere else after the Kaikoura one?
I think the last one I was involved with was the Cyclone Gabriel.
Oh, the one here
Yeah.
on the coast.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Did you go over to there?
Yep.
Because that was actually, how was that one? Knowing that we actually have family out that way.
Yeah, it was good and bad. Obviously, bad seeing the damage and everything it done, but good seeing the population on the east coast of New Zealand pulling together to help people in need.
Yeah. Were you worried at the time? You know, like I see, because we got the family out there.
No, I'd been getting regular updates anyway, so everybody was all good.
Yeah, that kind of brings us to now, I guess. How did your time in the military, because you're still serving, how did that shape your view on the world and how you see it?
That's shaped my views.
Yeah, like compared to being a civilian where we only see
No
half
idea.
of it.
I have no idea what being a civilian is like, because I've spent my whole pretty much life, adult life, being in the military, and I guess I'm a lot more conscious that what we have available to us in New Zealand and what New Zealand is like and how lucky we are with what we have on New Zealand compared to some other countries. I guess I'm a lot more accepting of different cultures and beliefs also. Like you have to be. You can't. I mean, in the New Zealand Army, Defence Force especially, is that it's one of our strengths is to take in consideration countries, cultures, and accept them for what they believe in and whatnot, as long as it's reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah, New Zealand's quite multicultural and accepting of others. Good to hear. Were there moments of personal growth, change that surprised you during your service so far, like that shaped you to be who you are now?
Probably was, but I haven't noticed it because I'm living it, right?
True.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So with you being in the military and having a family, we see me, sister, mum at the time, um, how do you think it influenced, you doing this stuff? How was your thoughts on your immediate family around these things you're doing?
I don't know. That's a hard one, right? Influenced? I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I think you guys had an awesome environment to grow up in a way, as in the camps and bases. You got to see a bit of the country by the
A
fact
lot.
that we moved around. Yeah, where I would probably say most kids don't. They stay in one place. So that's a good or bad thing. I honestly don't know because I haven't lived the other side. I've only got one family. I've only had you guys. So that's all there was. Sure, hey, in hindsight, there's probably a lot of things I would have done differently for the family and stuff like that. But yeah, I did the best I could at the time in regards to family.
Well, yeah, because I mean, hey, you got to remember as well, like it's your first time doing this, everything. So you can't expect. I can't expect you to be the best. You know, you're still working through your life and trying to figure out what to do. Obviously, with the family's life as well. So I can't really hold you against anything for that.
Mm.
I guess from the other side, I can say because I experienced it. I guess it was quite. I didn't know any different because being born into it and your career, your lifetime military, so it was kind of just life, just pretty normal for me moving around. Obviously, life on base was quite good in terms of it's quite a safe environment. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone looks out for everyone. It's kind of just a big family, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah, especially on the smaller camps that we stayed at. Obviously, growing up, you see all the, well, you get firsthand things, experiences with all the training, the military vehicles, and whatnot as well.
Mm.
You kind of get desensitized to that stuff. Like, when you guys used to do training through camp, see
Yeah.
dudes walking around all geared up, holding their rifles, and it's just like, oh yeah, just walking home from school. It's like, say hi to them and keep walking. Just another
Mm.
day. It still sticks to me when we lived in Wairu for a bit, splitting wood after school and see the old Hueys fly over in formation, stuff like that. That's pretty cool to see. Not many people got to see that type of stuff, and it's weird going to, I guess, starting to talk to people meeting people who weren't in the military life. They don't understand that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, they might see like one Unimog and get really excited and like, whoa, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay. For me, it's like, oh, it's
Mm.
just a truck, you know? Like when we started moving to the bigger cities, we moved to Wellington. See, that was a bit of a change. Not everyone, actually, like none of my friends there were military or anything, had military background, so it was kind of hard to integrate with that
Yeah.
because at all the other schools and everything, pretty much most of them were military, so you kind of just mesh anyway because you got that in common. Yeah, but to be honest, there was no real struggles, and I mean, I got to thank for you how disciplined I am in terms of that as well, and just respect I show others. It's one thing I'm really grateful of, obviously, because you drilled that into us from a young age.
What's that?
The discipline and treating others with respect and all that.
Yeah.
You drilled that into us, and I guess that's stuff you learnt in the military. So
Partly. I was also
yeah,
from Nan and Pa.
yeah,
Right?
not quite strict. Not very
Mm.
strict. That that just comes with the old school upbringing, I guess. And obviously it sucked at the time, because I didn't know any better. But now that I'm older, just that respect for others and loyalty, discipline, it definitely does help in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's just good to have. But no, I'm proud to have, you and what you've done in the military. Proud
Mm.
to say that you serve and you're my dad.
Thank you.
I even tried to join, but I got declined. I know you didn't want me to join, but which is fair. But
I
it's
would
natural.
support you in whatever you do.
I know, but it's natural, right? Most army brats, that's all they knew. That's all they know growing up.
Mm.
And they see that life. I guess you get a little taste of it, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I want to be a part of that family. But I guess it's different because, see, the reason why I wanted to join is different from what a normal person why they would want to join. It's not for the guns or all that stuff. It's more so the family, the camaraderie, that type of thing, which is what we saw a lot of growing up. So, do you have any funny stories? What advice would you give someone thinking about joining the military today, like a young person?
Go for it. I mean, just like you did, right? What you wanted. But I mean, there's the Air Force and Navy also. And I mean, back when I was younger, I probably would have just believed that there was only like the Army, right?
Mm.
Anything else is just nothing.
Yeah.
But
Hey, that was when we had cool Air Force too.
but they're just as important as the Army.
Yeah.
We like to rub each other up or wind each other up in regards to, who's more important, who's best, stuff like that, especially between Army and Navy. Air Force doesn't generally, because they just take it. But it's a good life, and just like with any job, it can be hard, challenging, but the benefits are also pretty good too. The work-life balance is pretty good, but there are sacrifices that families make. That is recognised, and as long as you know that, in your role, you're trained to kill people. We're not trained to wound people or give them bad, harsh words. We're actually trained to kill people. That's why we use weapons. That's why we're in the army. But so are other militaries, right, that we come up against or may come up against. So, yeah, ultimately you may lose your life. But then again, you can lose your life in Civvy Street, right, by crashing your vehicle, getting hit, falling off something. So, yeah, it's just that we're trained to do that. Yeah. So those are the considerations you have to think about. It's a good career if you stay in, do well. Then again, it can be just a stepping stone for some people for a short period of time.
If you had to start it all over again, with everything you know, and you're still, say, 17, would you do it all over again?
No,
You wouldn't
apart from
miss?
the family bit, but I'd probably join the Air Force. For what I know, I mean, I'm proud of what I've done and stuff like that, but there's easier ways of serving.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't regret anything I've done, what I've achieved, but there hasn't been an easy time. So yes and no, sort of half and half.
What do you want people to understand, I guess civilians, about the sacrifices and rewards of military service? Sorry.
Did you say sacrifices and rewards?
Yeah.
Oh, two different things.
Yeah. I guess like how there's a lot of anti-military stuff going around, and I guess civilians only really know what they hear on the news or that stuff like that, which is normally blown out of proportion and focuses on the wrong things.
I mean, in regards to those sort of people that have no experience or haven't experienced military, I mean, they got their opinions, right? Which is fine. But
everyone's valid to their own opinions.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, how deep their knowledge is on what we do, you'll find is only skin deep. You can scratch it, and that's probably about it. I mean, there's been a lot of people I've spoken to, met in bars and pubs and parties and whatnot. They have no idea what we do, but have strong opinions. And once you explain to them what we do, because they always talk us a bit like any government employee, right? We, all you guys just do is doing stuff for, with our tax money and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But when you talk about us as a diplomatic tool for overseas to enhance New Zealand's relationships with other countries, when we go and train with their militaries or train their militaries or visit their areas or have it exercises, all part of the diplomatic tool to help New Zealand in the long run in regards to these engagements, in regards to trade and all that sort of stuff. Right? But even within New Zealand, when a natural disaster happens in New Zealand, there is no other organisation that can move or lift or get to areas with without the resources we have, because that's what we do and can do. So that's why we're called in to disaster relief, humanitarian aid stuff, because we have the capacity to do that, not just by people and equipment, but also in our planning and our ability to, operate, plan things to get things done. It's very chaotic when you get a lot of civilian agencies trying to do that. They're very good at what they do, but a lot seriously lack the planning that we do and have to do as part of our service. So, yeah, once you explain that to civilians, they seem to start to realise that, okay, we're not just a defence force to defend New Zealand. We're much more. To be good at everything that we do, you got to be ready to do anything, and that's why we train for war. Hopefully we'll never have to go to war, but we train for war, and then that sort of makes us better at everything else.
Looking back on your career so far, what are you most proud of?
My kids. Yeah, I would say my kids.
What's one thing you hope listeners take away from hearing, your story? If you could tell everyone one thing about your time serving, or just your story indeed, like any advice, what would it be?
Strong mind, strong body, I guess. Everything can be overcome. Nothing's that bad.
And tomorrow's a new day, right?
Correct. Yeah.
What were your hobbies as a kid, before you joined military life?
I liked a lot of outdoor education stuff. So I did a lot of camping, a lot of going out on the farm, also farming with my uncle, riding, he had a big cattle sheep station out in the back blocks of New Zealand. So did a lot of that, learned a lot of life skills as a farmer on the back products, how to kill sheep, prepare them, how to prepare the meat, all that sort of stuff. Come across also a lot of, what you call normal farming stuff, which they don't show on Yellowstone or anything like that. But blow flowing sheep. So that's sheep that are still alive but have maggots and stuff crawling in them, opus sores and stuff like that. A lot of dead animals, stuff like that. So you become quite used to the hardships or realistic circumstances of living on a farm and the hardiness it sort of makes of you. And I think there's that. There's also sort of my second home for my grandparents was my cousins, or first cousins' place. And that sort of stemmed in conjunction with my grandparents is that, during their time, nothing is wasted. So when they did a home kill or sheep and stuff, nothing was wasted. Everything that could be eaten was eaten off the pig or the sheep. I learned how to fish for eels, learned how to fish, learned a lot of that side of the house also. I learned a lot about my culture also.
It's a very, very traditional Kiwi, I guess, back in the day, just hunting and gathering.
And then when I got ported back into town to go to secondary school, I joined school cadets. And I was there also for right till I enlisted, school cadet. And if you don't know what they are basically school cadets were generally run by a school. In this case, it was Gisborne Boys High that ran this one. And they did activities that sort of mirrored military stuff. We did shooting, marksmanship stuff. We did a lot of tramping, camping, survival. Yeah, it was loosely based on military sort of stuff.
It was also just survival, right?
Yeah.
Do you think with the how New Zealanders, I guess back then were brought up, the more country type who were the type to join the military back then? Do you think the way of living in terms of hunter-gatherers, living off the land, going camping middle of nowhere with like nothing pretty much, and it was just fun, do you think that really attributed to how well our forces were back then in terms of how they performed in the military?
I think they still are nowadays. I just think it's a different generation nowadays. They bring other skills
Hmm.
to the table. So I don't think we're any better or lesser. It was just, that's what we did back then. That's all we knew. Nowadays,
Yeah.
we got a lot more smarter people coming through that know, you know, electronic stuff inside out. They know how to do stuff that we have no idea, would have
Yeah.
had no idea about. So, yeah.
But I guess that's a different type of army now anyway. It's not really what it used to be in terms of tactics and stuff as well.
Um, Once again, it's different. Right? Warfare has changed.
Yeah.
It's a lot more technical nowadays. It's a lot more electronic nowadays with
Yeah.
drones and stuff like that. Yes, there's still people that are required to shoot each other and capture land. You can only do that with infantry, with people standing on that bit of land, right? You're not going to be able to do that with a drone or a tank or anything like that. You need to put soldiers in on the ground. So you're still going to need those people, sort of people that want to do that, which we do have, still will have going forward. But there's a lot more now for the intelligent soldier in regards to being able to understand the different communications, networks, information management, intelligence gathering, to working computer systems that launch drones to firing data in support of artillery strikes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the changes in the New Zealand military during the service, particularly regarding the disbandment of all fixed wing combat aircraft?
Oh, yeah, personally, it was pretty sad, right? I think we had Skyhawks and we had Air Mackies for close air support, and then we got rid of them, right? The fighter wing of our Air Force. So, yeah, it was a sad day. But, I was still pretty young then in the Army when that happened. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it didn't
I
really
think
bother me at the times.
it impacted a lot of people. I think a lot of people are still salty about how government went with the F-16s and then new government said no.
Mm.
Do you have any experiences with the Air Force before the disbandment of the combat aircraft?
No,
You didn't ever did training alongside them,
nah, nope.
nothing like
Had
that?
nothing to do with the Air Force, apart from being our taxis and the helicopters.
Hmm. Did you ever go to air shows and stuff like that before?
No, that
Ever
was
seen any?
yeah. No, you didn't as a soldier.
Oh, okay. I guess you just kind of seen it if you wanted to, right? The jets and
Mm.
everything, if you wanted to. And I guess it was
Undercover.
just,
Make sure you don't see any other army people. Name and shame.
I guess that was kind of just part of your normal life back then. You didn't know any different.
Exactly.
How do you feel New Zealand's military's
Oh yeah, it was pretty
contribution in
good.
East
It was
Timor
good.
is remembered today?
Apart from the people that we lost, I think we did well,
Hmm.
extremely
Uh,
well, considering it was our first deployment for a while.
yeah. I think New Zealand's quite praised for that. And Australia, sure, there were other militaries involved, but I think the most impactful difference was done by New Zealand and Australia, it
Hmm.
being in our backyard, pretty much. Australia more so, because right next to them. What's your opinion on not allowing nuclear vessels in our water? The whole anti-nuclear thing, because it would have put a stump on pretty much New Zealand's growth a lot in terms of
Yeah,
how we were seen
I
as an
don't,
ally.
I'm not too sure how that reads. I think it's nuclear weapons. New Zealand will not allow nuclear weapons into New Zealand.
I think it's
However,
fine. Yeah.
a nuclear powered ship is fine.
That stuff back then,
And
that put a
and the problem is when our Parliament was asking Americans, "Hey, is that ship got nuclear weapons on it?" The Americans wouldn't tell them, so that's why they banned them, because the Americans wouldn't say yes or no. But a nuclear powered ship, my understanding is okay. It's whether it's nuclear armed weapons are on board, and the
do you,
Americans will never say whether there is or not, and that's why they're not allowed to come in.
do you think that kind of stumped the growth of New Zealand? You know how you got Australia, how they have all the nuclear armed subs and big American base out there. In New Zealand, I guess we got an air base for Antarctica, but that's about it.
Sure, it may have. We don't know. We don't know whether we would have had better relations, or if we allowed nuclear ships or weapons into New Zealand. It's hard. It's hindsight, right? But we're right with the Americans. We get on with them.
Yeah. They call on us still quite a bit.
Yeah, and they come over and visit quite a bit, and we do a lot of training together.
Yeah. Do you think New Zealand has the ability to contribute to the modern war in the Asia Pacific region?
Yeah, well, that's
our.
I think we do. Army-wise, definitely. I don't know. Maritime, we're a bit short. I think we need help from Australia.
Okay, especially with the recent events. So.
Yeah.
Sinking a ship.
But yeah, I think we can have and we do have a positive relationship with most of the Pacific nations. Once again, because we do a lot of training with them, we train with them, we train them. We are a known entity where our cultures are closely related to them, our beliefs and stuff. We know we have a lot of soldiers that are from those areas in our military. So, yeah, that gives us a very unique edge in any modern combat or warfare in the Asia Pacific region. I think us being small is not necessarily a disadvantage. Being more mobile, being
better trained as well.
I wouldn't say better trained, uniquely trained, but being smaller, quick makes you quicker, lighter.
True.
You know, we're able to move a hell of a lot quicker than some normal regular armies, right? I'm not talking about special forces because we have them already. We have them too, but we're talking about regular forces, right?
Yeah.
So I think being smaller has an advantage of being more agile, being able to get into areas. And, you know, where in the past, been renowned also for our jungle fighting skills or survival skills also.
Yeah.
Certainly it's dropped off a little bit, but I think it wouldn't be too much because of our backgrounds, where we train, how we train. It wouldn't be too much to bring those back up to speed again.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on this big defense funding going up, the new injection of funding for all branches of the defense force?
Yeah.
Well, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, I know it's well needed. It was well needed.
Yeah. I mean, when you're being a career soldier, this swings roundabouts. It happens all the time. I dare say it happens in most militaries around the world where, you know, you go through cycles. And this has happened before with us. And yeah, it's always great to receive a bigger budget. Does it make us better? Eventually, I guess, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Go to the supermarket and just buy new ships and new planes.
No. Yeah, so New Zealand's regarded a small force and not really big. I know we are regarded quite highly in skills. Like even our special forces is highly regarded. We're deemed tier 1 and quite close to the top in that aspect, and that's with our training. Old pilots, when we used to have a fighter attachment, they were considered some of the best as well.
Yeah.
And ground forces were considered up there as well. Great people. I think pretty much if you listen to all the other podcasts and if they speak of New Zealand forces, regular forces, they're always really welcoming and quite friendly, or multicultural, like you were saying, and able to mesh with everyone. But also really good fighters when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's it. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys for sticking to the end. If you guys enjoyed this, please leave a comment, subscribe, and let me know what we can do better. If it's something that ends up being pretty good, we will try and get some more stories on here for you. Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. See ya.